just such a demise. They were murdered. Okay, so you mentioned that you heard of a group called SNAP. Doug's going to explain that, but before I switch over and introduce you to Doug, I'm going to read you a little thing that I wrote for SNAP. And it goes like this. Clearly in gear, minus all fear, the art of rap, elevating snap. They do not love the lost in the least. I'm talking about these pedophile priests of the CIA Nazi patriarchal pedophile church, full of murder, crime, and corruption, comes now an almighty interruption. For this Catholic hierarchy makes me sick in the belly. All say hooray for Sister Jane Kelly. Deceivers, crime syndicate lies have collided. Warriors arisen to break the chains of this prison, no longer divided. We will stand with the mothers whose sons the military killed. We'll stand with the death row inmate against the media so chilled. We'll stand with the migrants who know of Santana's Abraxas. Being foolish no more, we say we cease paying all taxes. Joey Piscatelli, like Gandhi, Cesar Chavez, Jesus, and Coretta Scott King, all vegetarians, for Almighty's love of sentience, their hearts do sing. We together arise without compromise, boycotting all greed till the corporate demise. 40 days and 40 nights for the general strike. Be the hidden path and leap of faith, attaining all as we'd like. And now I want to introduce Doug Millar, investigator for over 19 years, associated and affiliated with Ted Gunderson, the former head of Los Angeles FBI, and Senator John DeCamp, among others. Please switch seats with me and say hello, Doug Millar.
Hi, Sister Jane Kelly.
Hi,
You
Doug.
are a special lady in my life, and I just met you 2 days ago.
Yeah, right, Doug. Happy to meet you. I am so delighted that the two of you have come into my life, and I know that this issue is not going to remain dead. So I'm grateful for that.
Thank you. Yes, so my first question is, do we have permission from you to show this interview of you to the public?
By all means, Doug and Peter, you have my permission.
Thank you so much. Now, the second question is, you mentioned that you're not familiar with SNAP. It's an organization of survivors of pedophile priests, and there are now 8,000 of them in the country.
Oh my God, yes, I had heard of it, but I'm not that well informed about it.
Well, sure, you're retired now.
Yeah.
And what is so fascinating, folks, is that this is an acronym for survivors of pedophile priests. So I encourage everybody to go Google that and check it out and participate, join and support them as I have. This book, the Franklin Cover-Up, Child Abuse, Satanism, and Murder in Nebraska by former State Senator John DeCamp in Nebraska. Here's a photograph of him.
Oh my.
We'll show this to the audience as we're talking about it, because this book is the most important book written in your and my lifetime.
Oh my.
So I urge everybody watching this to order a copy of it.
Yeah.
And if they find they can't get the 2005 copy because it's being blocked on the internet and order through orders, then they can go to the internet, and the whole thing is there. Mm-hmm. So it's updated twice. We've been working with John DeCamp, both Peter and I, since 1992 when he came to Sonoma County and spoke, because we have Bohemian Grove here.
Oh, right.
And he knew that Bohemian Grove, that there was a crime in here, including the murder of a child at Bohemian Grove. And John DeCamp represented one of the young teenagers who was forced to travel there and help kidnap the children and everything, just like Peter has done. Okay? Now, you heard, of course, Peter referred to Santana. That, of course, is a term for Satan. Are you familiar with that?
Right.
Okay. Now, you also mentioned a Ratzinger, and John DeCamp, of course, has talked about him in detail because he studied spoke 5 languages fluently.
Oh my
and
God.
so he was recruited into the CIA. He had no choice. He was told, now you're in the Army, you're joining the CIA. And so his mentor for 25 years and best friend was the former head of the CIA, Bill Colby, who helped create the CIA, realized what a Frankenstein monster he created, and decided, even if it cost him his life, he was willing to risk it to bring and destroy the CIA. The CIA is very tied in with the Vatican. It's in this book here. And John DeCamp went to the Vatican twice at his own expense and asked the Vatican to help him investigate the pedophile priests in his church and their church that were being protected by the leadership in the Catholic Church here in America. And so I give you that background because this book is so important because, see, he represented Monsignor Robert Hupp, H-U-P-P, who was the first ambassador to the Vatican in our lifetimes, because it was under Reagan, if you remember, he established that relationship with the Vatican.
Right.
And Father Hupp, Monsignor Hupp, also managed Bohemian Boys Club for longer than any other priest in the history of Boys Town. Okay, so they teamed up. When DeCamp went to meet with had an audience with the Pope, and then he met with someone he didn't know who Ratzinger was, but it turned out to be Ratzinger. And you've had some problems. I wanted you to explain a little bit about how you feel about Ratzinger, because as it turned out, Ratzinger told DeCamp the second trip, I'm going to create a corporation for you, and we're going to fund you to investigate and sue these pedophile priests in America. The corporation was never formed. And of course, he never got any money from the Vatican. But as you know, and I've told people this, and they've agreed with me, that for the last 20 years that the last Pope was alive, Ratzinger ran the church. Would you agree with that?
That I would definitely agree with that.
Okay, and give us your opinion of Ratzinger.
My opinion of Ratzinger is, number one, he's a politician. Number two, he has climbed the ladder, and even up to the point where he's elected Pope, which I was shocked when I found that out. I wrote Ratzinger and told him the situation here regarding Bishop Zeman. And so I sent him the letter and wrote back through a secretary saying that he didn't know anything about this. He didn't know anything about Zeman. And so I wrote him back again, and I said, I don't understand that. I am sure that you have heard of Bishop Zeman, because Zeman knew Ratzinger, and they both knew the present Pope. Well, the present Pope's Ratzinger. And so I never got a letter back. So I wrote a third letter, and I said, no doubt you responded to my letter, but it must have gotten lost in the mail because you were so prompt in responding to my last letter. So I got the next letter, and again, it was just as vague that, you know, he didn't know anything about that, and that I should go to the bishops' conference in the United States. And that was about as far as I could get with Ratzinger. Well, I know now that he was very close to Zeman, and they were both very, very much involved with each other. So Ratzinger, in my mind, covered up as well as others.
Thank you. I want to show you how the church is protecting pedophiles and even child murderers. It's all in this book.
Oh my golly.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
So I just want to wrap up here by you mentioned something in humor the other day and again today that I think is also very prophetic. If you were appointed Pope, what would you do?
Just give me a day to be Pope, and the first thing, women would be ordained priests. Secondly, I would do a complete investigation, and any priests that have been found to be pedophiles, they would be defrocked, and they would be tried and sentenced to prison according to their crime. And
how long would it take you to accomplish this?
I could do it in one day. And so that's what I would like, just one day to be Pope.
Well, we're going to start a draft movement worldwide for you to become the Popette. Okay. Okay, and to help us clean up this mess, okay? Because I've had, throughout my life, I've had many of my closest friends have always been Catholics because we have a lot of the same values, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, and to wrap up here then, how many pedophile priests do you know of since you've been investigating them here in our county of Sonoma County, California, where Bohemian Grove is?
Yeah. The ones that I've had personal contact would be about 5 that I definitely knew. There were rumors about others, but these I definitely knew.
Okay, and the last question then, and that is, how do you know this?
How do you know?
How do I know? Well, I knew them personally, and then young men who had been abused. I had a Hispanic woman come, and 4 Hispanic young men told their story on tape, and that was taken to the Chancery office, and again they were told, we'll take care of this. And that was where they actually mentioned Jorge Hume Salas. And then Gary Timmons, it was obvious. I had children tell me about his abuse.
Thank you so much. And as you know, there have been a lot more pedophile priests identified since you went public 11 years ago on the front page headline story in the Press Democrat, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Which won't help us expose these crimes occurring in our county, but because of your clout, they did so.
Yeah.
But Press Democrat covers up the torture of murderous children. We have witnesses who have seen it happen
Right.
in our county, and the Press Democrat won't even publish it.
No.
And they will never acknowledge this book because it
Yeah.
exposes these kind of crimes at Bohemian Grove,
Yes.
right here in our county.
Oh, God.
So, let's see. I think that pretty well does it. I've got so many more things I want to cover with you, but I think my time's about up. How are we doing?
Couple more minutes.
Oh, do I? Okay. Okay. Then I would just like to show this right here, folks. I started out as an investigator of violent crimes against children, covered up by law enforcement 18 plus years ago, as you heard Peter say. I've never charged for my investigations. After Polly Klaas was kidnapped and murdered in our county, our network just became paranoid. But I'm back here in the county because I went to 14 other states after that, but I came back here because this is the only county in all these states that we've ever been able to get left and the right, Mormons, Catholics, atheists, agnostics, to lay aside our differences on race, religion, and politics and build a coalition to help protect children. Now it's coming together for the second time,
Right.
and there may be some retaliation because we're back.
Yeah.
You know, and Peter and I are working together. They're not harassing Peter like they used to since I got back 3 years ago.
Right.
And so we know we're on the right track, but we're having a major conference in Salt Lake City next Monday and Tuesday, all right? And people from all over the nation are coming in there, experts on these issues, and we're going to do 2 days of filming, give them all kinds of evidence, and here's my report I put out after 2 years of full-time investigation.
Oh, my God.
Target your children and grandchildren. Where have all the children gone? And I'm talking about only, basically 90% of what I'm talking about here is our county.
Oh, my.
And what's going on here that never makes the papers because the New York Times owns the Press Democrat,
Right,
and they
right.
cover up these crimes.
Yeah.
And because they're bringing children here and creating snuff films, they torture and murder children on film in our county. We have witnesses of it. Peter's a witness. We have other witnesses.
Yeah.
And we can't get the DA, a Catholic. We can't get anybody to help us prosecute the criminals that we've identified doing this here, including Aquino.
Oh, my God.
So thank you so much for taking the time to
You're
meet with us.
welcome, Doug.
Peter?
Okay, well, Sister Jane Kelly, we're down to the last 5 or 6 minutes. I'm going to run a few more things by you, and you're top shelf. You're top of the line, and I got to get one of those books, and I would like it signed by you. But I want to mention, I was listening to Doug, and he mentioned Gary Timmons.
Yes.
Gary Timmons is another one that I've been abused by because I was in the very unique position of seeing groups of these men. They operate like packs. They're very dangerous groups. The media tries to portray pedophiles as being lone individuals. The reality is they operate as groups and dangerous packs, and only when there's too